Okay? And then I just want to lay that foundation first. Now, when you begin to talk about the amnesty issue, you want to find out, number one, why amnesty? At what point in time? Amnesty, as at that time, was the only option that was sensible for any government to have given. The people have come out, the agitations were strong. The entire world knew that these people wanted justice. The Nigerian government had no other Nigerian government had no other alternative than to look for a way to resolve, to bring about peace in that region. And the problem we had in that region was affecting economy, was affecting, in fact, as at a particular point in time, was affecting the unity of the nation. Obasanjo could not solve it, although he spearheaded it. All right? And then the Yar'Adua administration, I think that's one of the hallmarks of that administration, came out and looked for a way to solve that problem, which of course had been on and on and on for a very long time. Don't forget, people like Sariwa were in the struggle. Everybody, it's a struggle. Boro. This had been a struggle that had been on for a very long time about the people who their land, the only source of their own income, their waters, everything, all right, were completely bastardized, and they were the major source of revenue, of economy. Today, in this world, if we draw, in Nigeria, each time I look at the budget, our budget is drawn through oil. There's no other, we don't draw budgets through any other source but oil. And this comes, mainly from this region. And I think when that amnesty came, peace was restored. And what amnesty represented was people coming out to say, that's why this MEND issue and the entirety of this thing we're talking about MEND still baffles me. People came out and said, we are going to today seize issue of MEND. We are embracing amnesty. We are embracing a peace process. All right? Since you people have agreed with at least some of our agitations. And let me tell you, one of the strongest agitations that these people never even bargained for was that their region was going to produce the president. So what baffles me, and I still get confused, is will anybody in his right thinking mind from that region that has today produced, it is the minority region, will anybody have support for any group that will come out to destabilize a government
while their
own son,
the president?
You will find out that this is the height of stupidity, and that such a person will not enjoy support of anybody from that region for no matter whatever cause. For no matter whatever cause. And that's why we should begin to look at most of the security problems, of course, right now, as it borders from that area, beyond most of these masqueraders, most of these people who are just coming out to claim they are MEND or they are not MEND, and other things to cause distraction.
Okay, let me ask you then, what is your own thought about one of the issues that this MEND that has presented itself as coming out now? What is your thought on the issue of amnesty to Boko Haram?
Honestly, as a nationalist, I want to say two things. As one who loves Nigeria, I want to say these two things. Amnesty to Boko Haram is a slap on justice. Slap on justice, number one, because of evil that has been perpetrated against lives of Nigerians. But for unity of this nation, for peace of this nation, for the continuity of what ordinarily will divide national unity, I think that is one of the greatest things, Mr. President, sacrifice any leader in this world can give. So many leaders, I tell you, many leaders will not dispense peace will not, for any reason, mortgage justice, all right, at the expense of national unity and peace. And I think it is one very, 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 very...
So what would you say to those people who said, just like you said amnesty to Boko Haram is a slap on justice because of what has been perpetrated. So those people who say that we shouldn't get any kind of peace just at the altar of sacrifice of justice.
It doesn't... I just said it. If you're a nationalist, if anybody loves this nation, it is like war. It's like the war that took place, the Biafran War. There's always a meeting point. We can't continue like this as a nation. No nation will thrive, all right, if there is no give and take. And the greatest give and take anybody can give at this particular point in time is what, Mr. President? You see, sometimes I want to believe, I'm from the opposition, strong opposition, but I can give it to the president of this country that we have a president who sometimes listens, or most of the times listens. And I think he's getting it right. He is getting it right. Yes, he is getting. And don't forget, all opposition leaders who also are on the other divide have all come to one point. And in fact, they were the people who were agitating and saying, Mr. President, if we were in your shoes, we will grant amnesty to Boko Haram. They insisted. They began the call
not
for
all opposition leaders, though.
Like who?
Like who?
Not all of them.
I can't remember any. I went.
Every opposition leader in Nigeria
That I can think of in Nigeria. There is none. The ACN today represents the opposition, and the ACN have been at the forefront of amnesty to Boko Haram.
Okay, let me ask, I was actually going to ask the person who represents government here that you have your finger on the pulse of members of MEND and all the other people from the South who have been granted amnesty. And those who are said to be members of MEND now, they're saying that they're strongly against that. Are you getting the same feeling from some members of MEND or even people from the South who feel that this is an injustice that is completely unacceptable to them?
And I think they are intending to take the responsibility that belongs exclusively to the president. The prerogative, the desire, the contemplation of granting anybody pardon belongs exclusively to Mr. President. One, why I'm drawing that inference is that, have you bothered to look at what is going on? He said a proposal for granting of amnesty. He set up a committee with terms of reference. Firstly, there has to be willingness, there has to be acceptance before, and the processes of what will be granted. How will it be granted? That's what is on the table now. The issue of granting amnesty has not even come. They had approached him as president severally. So he has thrown it open to very credible leaders, particularly from the north. Let's sit around, draw up. How do you want it granted? How will it be? Will it include the transnational terrorists that comes from